This is the Ghetto Free Press, and I'm George Boston Rhines, and I just received the breaking news that we have a new mayor in Quitman, Georgia. Much like the Quitman 10+2, Nancy Dennard being the first president of the Brooks County Board of Education, and now we have James Brown III, the first Black African-American mayor of Quitman, Georgia. First of all, we acknowledge that black does not make it right, but right always make it right. We must understand that the Quitman 10+2 brought Brooks County the first black majority in the history of that county. And as you know, the Quitman 10+2 was brought up on charges of alleged voter fraud, and after nearly 3 years, only one have had their day in court, and it ended up a mistrial. With all that has happened, with all of the complaints, with the elections in the past and identified problems at a particular meeting on July the 17th, 2012, highlighted major problems with the Brooks County Board of Elections, yet Secretary of State Brian P. Kemp were informed through formal complaint forms, given a DVD, among other detailed problems. And until this date, the people of Brooks County are still awaiting a response from Georgia Secretary of State and Glenn Austin, who was an investigator that came down from Macon at the bequest of the Secretary of State, yet nothing has been done. Moreover, the meeting was a total whiteout, and very little to nothing was done. This is the Ghetto Free Press, keeping you informed, because it is in time. It is indeed time that the people in South Georgia know the truth. To James Brown III, thank you to all your family that came down from New York and other places to congratulate you on your victory. As a graduate of Washington Street High School myself, from Brooks County, I say to you, as the Muslims say, Alhamdulillah. And to the Jews, I just say shalom to you. And as the Christians, I say peace and blessings be upon you and to all the great worthies that help you in your campaign. To the Honorable Mayor Curtis L. Pickens, we want to say to you, thank you for your service. I pray that you have done an outstanding job. And now we look forward to the reign of James Brown III to carry on the affairs of the city of Quitman in a most honorable way. Thank you. He is a retired disabled military veteran, and I believe personally that he will perform on behalf of the people, and this is the Ghetto Free Press saying bye-bye.
My county commissioners, Mr. S.O. Jones, Mr. Joe Wingate, and Mr. Howard Lawson, find nothing wrong with this. They find nothing wrong with this. How much can one community endure to have the right to have our votes cast and counted for who we want to represent us?
Anybody else wants to bring up anything else?
This is the Ghetto Free Press, Wednesday, August the 6th, 2014. And of course, it highlights the upcoming trial of the Quitman 10+2 Originally there was 10, then there was 12, and now there's 11. After nearly 4 years, the state of Georgia has failed to convict or find any one of them guilty. However, Latasha Head is dead. Dead. She had lupus. I talked to the father, and there is a great possibility that the stress from these alleged voter fraud accusations may have taken one life already. And we can only ask, why is it that District Attorney David Miller, Assistant District Attorney Brad Shealy, the G.B.R, the Secretary of State Brian P. Kemp, and others, why are they taking so long? Why have only half of the story been told? Let's focus in truth on this heading here in the Quitman Free Press. Look, voter fraud retrial set for August 19th, 2014. But let's look a little closer. Voter fraud third trial. Voter fraud third trial. The first voter fraud trial was a mistrial. The second voter fraud trial was a mistrial. And now the state of Georgia want to try Miss Lula Smart, and they added Dr. Nancy Dennett with her for the third trial. Truth or falsehood? Why didn't the paper mention that a postal worker, Boone, took information from U.S. postal letters and ballots and sent it to a third party, gave him information? And yet the Postmaster General of Macon, the Postmaster General of Washington, D.C., haven't said nothing, saying to all postal workers that you can pull voter ballot information out of post office box and give it to a private investigator, and nothing will be done to you. It won't even be published in the newspapers and presented on TV for the most part. Wait a minute, haven't finished. As you know, the post office clerk started this initiation of this alleged voter fraud. Wait a minute. Then it was brought out in trial that the Brooks County Board of Election registrar took ballots home with her. Wait a minute. Took ballots home with her. She even had her granddaughter to work on these ballots. So we can only ask, did she also have her Republican Party friends over for dinner? Or did she have her Democratic Party over to work on the ballots at her own private residence? Or did she have the Green Party members? Or did she have the Independent Party working on those ballots in the privacy of her own home? This was brought out in the trial. And yet, listen, America, listen, people in Afghanistan, Pakistan, and other nations around the world, listen. Listen, do you not know nothing was done to the postal worker? Nothing has been published about them doing anything wrong? So this sets a precedent even for the registrar, saying to all registrars in the state of Georgia that you can take registered ballots, official absentee ballots, from locked filing cabinets and take them home and sit in the backyard and work on them, or take them down to the lake and process them, and nothing will be done. This is the new precedence that the state of Georgia have set, and it's seemingly with the approval of the Department of Justice. And now we must question the voting process here in Georgia and in the United States of America. You do not have to be a rocket scientist nor a rocking chair operator to understand that somebody have lied to us about this nation wanting to be a nation of laws. and respecting the right to vote. So on August the 19th, be there. You need to see how this jury selection process is carried out in the state of Georgia. The first trial, I think, had 2 blacks. The second mistrial had 1 black and 1 black alternate. And they had a Latino lady who went to sleep in the jury box 3 times. And the 4th time, the judge said, somebody wake her up. Yet, you don't find this published in your newspapers. You don't find this on your TV stations. They won't even talk about it on radio. And this is where the ghetto free press comes in. And this is why our active duty military personnel had better question why they are fighting in the great wars of this nation when their biggest fight may be here at home. So again, I just returned back to South Georgia from a vacation, and I thought that I would give you, as I always do, just a little bit more truth. And you know, when you report the truth, they call you many dirty names. But when you look at the history of Martin Luther King, John Brown, and others that traveled that great land of Holy Divine, I'm in good company. But I will never punk out under pressure, because I believe in the God you placate and duplicate. Once again, the Ghetto Free Press. The Ghetto Free Press. Georgia and the federal government has set a dangerous precedent in this Quitman 10+2 case, the voter fraud case. Google it. I got it all over the internet. Google it. The precedent that they have set is that you can take official postal letters and get information from it as you perform your job, and as others perform their job, they can take your information and give it to a private investigator, and nothing will be done about it. If you're a registrar in the state of Georgia, you can take all of your official absentee ballots home with you, or take them to the lake. Take them down to a club and work on them and process them. Yeah, and get your grandchildren and your children to work on them. You can empower them to do that, you know. And then when it's brought out in trial, even the newspapers and the Secretary of State won't even address the issue. Sooner or later, we're going to find out, and the world will know what a real democracy looked like. Now, I challenge anybody. If they can refute, if they can sue me for anything that I've said, or if you think I can't back up what I've said with bold facts, then call me in front of your TV station like CNN with Victor Blackwell, Al Sharpton, and I can prove every point that I have made. Not only through videos, I won't even have to talk. I'll let the video talk. And there were other people. We are not as crazy as they think we are. Once again, the Ghetto Free Press. Somebody got to help save our nation and the respectability that many of the founding fathers and their supporters have built up over these centuries. Once again, the Ghetto Free Press. Not the Quitman Free Press, but the Get To Free Press. We get to the information, and then we get it back to you so it can be registered in the historic archival record of God Almighty. Because St. John 8:32 says, "And ye shall know the truth, and the truth shall set you free." Not like the Quitman Free Press or the Wilkerson County Post, but as God's free press. This is a small town of Quitman, Georgia, in the county of Brooks. And of course, this is where the Quitman 10+2 was charged with alleged voter fraud, mishandling of absentee ballots. And this is the post office in Quitman, Georgia. And this is where one postal clerk by the name of Mr. Boone noticed, as he testified in court, that there was a bundle of absentee ballots in the mail. And of course, what he did was that he notified authorities, but not before he gave information from those official ballots to a third party And we also found out that I believe it was indeed a former attorney for the Brooks County School Board, and the rest is history because it came out in the courtroom. Yet you don't know much about that in terms of what happened in the courtroom in either of the two mistrials of the Miss Lula Smart case. But yet we are here to report because we believe that you have a right to know. The question have been asked and still being asked, why is it that the Postmaster General in Macon or at higher levels been called in to investigate for the information that citizens put on their personal mail should not be released to anyone outside of the postal channels until it gets to the person. And so we know, because we was in the courtroom, this information was taken from those official ballots and given to a private investigator as it came out in the case of Lula Smart. And once again, why is it, the question is, why is it that this postal clerk has not been called in and something been said in the general public about whether this new precedent wherein in the state of Georgia, a postal clerk can take information from an official ballot or personal mail and possibly open it and or take information from it and give it to someone without the person that wrote the letter's permission. It seems like Georgia is a state with its own set of laws and rules. Yet the Quitman 10+2 are facing, after nearly 4 years, accusations against 12 outstanding citizens. And I believe it is a travesty of justice. Again, after 4 years, and these outstanding citizens have still not had their day in court. This is the Ghetto Free Press, the voice of the people. I have in my hand a legal document from the courts. And in the Superior Court of Brooks County, Georgia, on August the 19th, 2014, 9:00 a.m., the state of Georgia versus Lula Mary Smart and Nancy Whitfield Denard, defendants. The order reads, it is hereby ordered as follows. Trial in these cases, which have heretofore been joined for trial, is hereby set to begin promptly at 9:00 a.m. on Tuesday, August the 19th, 2014, in the Brooks County Courthouse, Quitman, Georgia, with jury selection. Let me say at the beginning of this video that Lula Smart was tried in September of 2013. And she was tried again in April of this year. The first trial ended up in a mistrial. The second ended up in a mistrial. And now the state of Georgia is trying Lula Smart once again for the third time. The state of Georgia have now added Nancy Whitfield Denard as well. Why they put both of them, I will never know, because Lula have already had 2 mistrials. I will leave that up to other people to decipher. But I would like for you to understand that these 12 people, the Quitman 10+2, one, Latasha Head, is now deceased. I talked to her father a month ago. She had lupus. Whether or not the pressures, the added stress on her ailment was a contribution or contributed to her death is yet to be determined. But the people here in Quitman and Brooks County and around the state of Georgia don't believe that these outstanding citizens did anything wrong except got out, registered people to vote, gave them permission to file absentee ballots and to help and assist them, and they did that. And eventually they gave the Brooks County Board of Education a majority black vote for the first time in Brooks County's history. And some people, many of us believe, were not satisfied with that. So be that as it may, I'm saying to you to check out the videos that I'm going to put beneath this video so you will get the rest of the story. Because the first trial, the second trial, much of what took place in this courtroom was never published in the newspaper, the Quitman Free Press, the Valdosta Daily Times, or any other newspaper in South Georgia or in the state of Georgia. The TV stations gave both cases extremely low media coverage, if any. But the Quitman Free Press, we commend them for being in service from the 1800s until today. And so we're going to be in the courtroom if God pleases, and we are going to talk to you day by day, because we know in our form of government, too many American citizens have bled, suffered, and died not to have a free press that will report the good, the bad, and the ugly. So now, the next clip I want to show you about where this case first started with a postal clerk, Boone, who saw a number of ballots, as he claimed, in court. And he, well, you'll get the rest of that. Then I'm also going to talk about the Board of Elections and the registrar. I want to show you the building where they were, where people vote. And they took ballots from that location to her home to work on these absentee ballots. I don't know if the people that she hired, including her granddaughter, I don't know if she was a Democrat or Republican, don't really care. But what I'm concerned about is the fact that when it was brought out in trial, that the registrar could deputize people, including her granddaughter, to work on these ballots, to take them home from her place of employment, and nothing be said about it by the Secretary of State, the Georgia Attorney General, or the Governor of the state of Georgia, or Eric Holder of the Justice Department with the Civil Rights Division. Now, why am I concerned with that as a retired military veteran of 21 years? I'm concerned about that because if the postal clerk could take information from official mail and give it to a private investigator at the request of a former Board of Education attorney, and nobody says nothing, then the state of Georgia is given the impression that that is the new precedent that is being set, which means all the other registrars in the state of Georgia now can take ballots from their place of employment, Mr. Eric Holder. They can take official ballots out of the post office, take information, and give it to a member of the Green Party or the Republican Party or the Democratic Party or the Independent Party or somebody who don't have a party at all, and nothing be done about it. And the Postmaster General in Macon and the Postmaster General of the United States haven't said nothing about this. And so that means also that anybody can understand that that's a new precedent for the post office. In other words, your official mail now can be looked at, opened, information taken from it and given to anybody, and nobody in the state of Georgia will say anything. So, if this is the precedent that is now set, we had better ask ourselves, why are we allowing our sons and our daughters to join the United States Armed Forces to fight for the rights of foreigners while our rights are being discarded as the old 1857 Supreme Court decision called the Dred Scott decision, which said no black man had any rights that a white man had to respect. So I'm going to be here on the 19th, and I want you to be here. And I want you to watch. The first trial, I think, had one black on it. The jury had one black, I believe. Well, two. I think it was two. And the second one had one black man on that one, and they had one alternate. Now, there's a great possibility that the computers picked those two juries. And so I guess the same computer will pick the jury selection process for this trial. And just maybe this computer this time will pick an all-black jury. Maybe the computer will make it possible for the people on this jury will be majority black. But we're going to see, because we all must ask a question. I'm going to ask you a question, rather. When have you ever seen here in Brooks County a majority black jury? Or, better yet, when have you ever seen an all-black jury? Yet, you often see all-white juries, but never an all-black or majority black jury on nothing. And I'm going to add, for the benefit of the ordinary citizen, during the last trial, do you not know they selected a Latino lady about 4 feet tall? She couldn't even speak English nor understand English as it was brought out, because she didn't even understand when the judge told them that they may have to come back the next week before the mistrial was granted, and she didn't even understand that. That was awful embarrassing, or should have been, to that computer that picks these jurors to serve on these court cases. We sat in the courtroom, watched this same juror fall asleep 3 times, and the 4th time she threw her head back in this manner. And the judge said, somebody wake her up. Somebody wake her up. This should be a matter that is included in the transcript. But we also know that the transcripts in Georgia, many of them are altered. They are not reliable. If you doubt what I'm saying, then you could ask Shannon Watkins, whose 14-year-old daughter was hogtied by a sheriff deputy in Lowndes County, and she has not received justice yet. And she says that the transcript that she had to pay money for was altered. Don't take my word for it. She has a copy of the transcript, and we have it recorded by means unknown to some. But Jesus said, and ye shall know the truth, and that the truth shall set and make you free. And now, sit back. First, I want you to look at the building. This is the building where the registrar works, but took absentee ballots from this building that I'm about to show you to her place of residence to work on them, and the rest is history. Not published in the newspaper, but is a part of history, because you have a right to know. Listen, and as the Bible says, hear ye, O Israel, because only the truth will set us free here in the United States of America and even in the state of Georgia. Listen, 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 because somewhere we must know, somewhere, that there is a God somewhere keeping watch over his own. And all the people of God said, give us the truth. Give us the truth. Don't keep it from us. Don't keep it from us. Give us the truth. Please, don't just go to church, mosque, synagogue, and temples, and then lie and say you love God and that you are on your way to heaven while you practice while you practice the hate of Satan, instead of that which provide for life, for all life. So listen, please.